Let's have a look at how Timbi Live Aid becomes an immersive experience that works as a social instrument. Behind this musical game, there are two key concepts. First, the game as cultural celebration. This free-to-play multiplayer experience celebrates African music and culture. In particular, the culture of the Chopi Timbila and Chopi people in Mozambique, which in 2005 was proclaimed UNESCO's Intangible Cultural Heritage of Humanity. The second key concept is that it is a game for social good. We fundraise for Maputo Skate, a non-profit organization established in Congolote. Maputo Skates focuses on the so-called edu skating, which is designed to keep young people away from gang culture, drugs, alcohol and crime in Mozambique, combining education with sports. More than 2 billion people play video games. This represents a third of the world's population. The game's global market is just about £100 billion, with a substantial trend moving towards the concept of microtransactions. As an example, 2 years after launch, Epic's game Fortnite has made a total of $1 billion in revenue. The game has already 350 million registered players. How can gamers be connected to good causes? There are numerous examples of games and game platforms who have partnered with charities and foundations for fundraising purposes, including Humble Bundle, which is a game portal that has raised $188 million to date in donations. A more modest example but equally touching is Santa Monica's studio That Game Company, who raised $1 million for the pandemic relief via their game Sky, Children of Light. Sky is a beautiful healing game which has been downloaded 24 million times to date. In Sky's edition Days of Healing, players could purchase a special flower and 100% of that money transaction was sent to the NGO Doctors Without Borders. However, and in both cases, fundraising for good causes is not something they do as their main focus. Well, there are several reasons why it is a good idea to do so. 30 to 50% of UK fundraising is face-to-face. With COVID, this equates to over £4 billion of lost donations only in the first 4 weeks of the pandemic. The pandemic is forcing almost every business to go digital, including street canvassing and other physical activities and campaigns run by charities and foundations. 70% of charity donors are above 40 years old, whereas 66% of gamers are under 40. Our proposition is looking at how can we use video games as the conversion path to solve charities' aging problem. It does so via funding a new generation of donors among gamers and in return providing younger people with the ownership of social challenges, meaning the things that really matter to their generation. This is how it works. Gamers earn digital currency, in this case in the form of musical energy, to buy in-game assets that we convert into real do-good things that we send to Africa for this particular campaign. Let's see how we add a layer of music and fun to the philanthropic giving experience. The lack of transparency in charity campaigns is a key concern for donors. The game has a second app which uses augmented reality and that we call the Digital Twin Wallet, which connects donors and beneficiaries in a very simplified way. The app is still very much in beta version, but the concept aims to provide transparency to the money and increase the sense of ownership of the solution for that particular problem. How big is the market? In the UK alone, the video game market is £4 billion. The game aims to keep a portion of the income to reinvest in the business and donate the rest for good causes. Charities, we hope they will be thrilled with the games and opportunities we provide for them in return for a very small fraction of what they spend in campaigns.
A highlight of the Timbi Live 8 project is its ability to embrace all forms of presence, from the virtual world to our daily reality. The experience navigates all the categories of so-called real-virtual continuum, a concept devised by Milgram and Kishino in the early 90s. As a highly versatile project, it holds the potential to establish direct relationships between real and virtual world, strengthening its union through the use of augmented reality and augmented virtuality. These intrinsic relationships are evident through the creation of real and virtual twins, as it emerges from the game's core system, which in addition to generating overall enrichment allows for the purchase of the virtual accessories by the user. The skateboard in particular acquires the ability to trespass the virtual realm to become materialized in the real world. Such virtual-to-real migration becomes possible via a parallel crowdfunding campaign, in which monetary donations made by proxy donors provides the means to convert virtual currency earned by the player into the real currency. This interlocked financial system across the real and the virtual leads to enact the dual perception of source of purchase for skateboarding equipment, which is sent to Maputo Skate Mozambique alongside an educational package. The game establishes a direct relationship, fun play and social good. The concept "play for fun, share the reward" connects the game's aim to generate a virtual environment in which playing for fun while celebrating culture can become the catalyst to do social good. In this case, the positive impact is aligned with Maputo Skate's aim to encourage young people to have fun while practicing skateboarding sports and accessing education. As a result, the most vulnerable young generation of Maputo can escape from the influence of mafias, drugs, and alcohol. This interlock between virtual and real donation also aims to minimize one of the key concerns for donors, which is the transparency of the donation. In other words, how their money is wisely spent to fulfill the promise of crowdfunding campaign. The instrument we use for that is called the Digital Twin Wallet, which is a separate app that connects donors with beneficiaries. This tool includes augmented reality technology that allows the main character in the game called Timbilikia or Timbilikio to be inserted in the physical spaces of both the donor and the recipient. It has the ability to share selfies with the game's character and send it information back and forth, immersing users and the physical environment within the context of the experience. Its dual function creates a complicity between the user and the artwork, while providing a simplified yet fun way to feedback donors with effective information with regards to the root of the donation. Sharing these images on social networks exponentially enhances the philanthropic cycle, thus allowing Timbilikio, the character, to transcend the boundaries of the game and its originally intended meaning. As the game development progressed, we found the need to evolve the project in order to extend the connection between the real and the virtual throughout augmented virtuality, allowing to complete the full cycle of real to virtual continuum. To illustrate this sonically, we live broadcasted the music performed by our invited guest Mark Pilkington from his living room directly into multiplayer game. To do this, we expanded the virtual space, introducing a stage island dedicated to live concerts, where live music is produced in the physical world, in the performance studio, and sent to virtual in-game concert space. As a result, we were directly influencing players' actions, who could dance and interact with each other as if they were in a real concert experience. This game release, including the concert island, is strongly informed by the current pandemic, which has forced the world population to drastically minimize social interaction. Beyond the tremendous human suffering that COVID has brought to the present times, the world of culture, and especially that of the gig economy, has been drastically impacted by the need to move to the digital interaction. Social activity and musical events cannot be enjoyed collectively as before, and it's often reduced to videos, broadcasts, and Zoom concerts, losing the degree of human interaction, immersion, and interest for audiences and performers. This situation strengthens the concept known as the fourth wall, which increasingly distances audiences from the artwork, producing artistic alienation. Finally, Timbi Live 8 is an experience that succinctly embraces the concept of virtual equality, a digital form of egalitarianism achieved through the visual representation of players in the virtual world. Gamers are represented by a single type of avatar, where their origin or social status is no longer apparent. Every player's avatar embodies the cultural ethnicity of Timbila instrument, made of apple shell calabashes and wooden bars of bench tree. This strategy is used to facilitate and raise the sense of collaboration and solidarity among players without alienating the individual. This is somehow similar to how the world of AND works, where collective actions of every individual are translated into global good, putting community needs first. However, in the case of Timbi Live 8, replacing the hard labor of the ants by tremendous digital fun.